Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds and welcome back to Ask the Cheeseman. I'm your host. Hang on, where's the thing? I'm your host, Gavin Weber, and Chief Curd Nerd, and I'll be attempting to answer your cheese-making questions today. Welcome one and all. It's been a week since I've seen you all, but very lively chat this morning. Thank you, everybody, for having a chitty chat with me before the show starts. I always love that part of the show, even though there's no visuals and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, very cool. All right, bit off me game here. Thank you, everybody who is a financial member. Special mention today, Gillian Elliott. Thank you, Gillian, for becoming a new YouTube member. And thank you to all the YouTube members, past and present. And, of course, all the patrons. Thank you, everybody who supports the show financially. It really does help. And more on that later, for sure. Now, today's Cheese a Day Challenge cheese is salted honey, and you can see that on the main channel. It was an interesting little cheese, surprised me, and I liked it a lot, so that was good. You may have seen a lot of, I think it was yesterday, the Grana Padano, the Voldemort of cheeses. There were a lot of, I don't know, what is it, not jokes, in jokes, I suppose. It was a funny video. Anyway, yeah, my cheese tasted better. Now, there are two more cheeses to go on the Cheese a Day Challenge. We've got, what have we got? Tomorrow, we've got a Bega, which is an Australian brand. It's called Strong and Bitey Vintage Cheddar. Yep, that's a very good one. And I tried some official Havarti from Denmark, where it's originally made, and just to check if those Tasmanian ones stood up to the test of time that I've been tasting. Some official Denmark Havarti, so yeah, very interesting. And there'll be a wrap-up video very soon after on my thoughts on the top 5 cheeses of the challenge and the bottom 5 cheeses. There were some that I was disappointed in. Just some basic facts about the Cheese a Day Challenge and that sort of stuff. So that'll be good fun. Now, let's say g'day to a few people, because there are lots of people in the chat, which is fantastic. First cab off the rank was Persnickety. Thank you, Michael. And thanks for those, the photograph for the gallery, which is at 30 minutes past the hour. Who else we got? Cool Cat. G'day, Cool Cat. Lovely to see you again. We've got Paul. We've also got, who came in next? Shauna in Tassie. G'day, Shauna. Lovely to see you. Patricia in Halifax, Nova Scotia in Canada. We got Jeff and Heidi. G'day, Jeff and Heidi. Lovely to see you. That engagement video is still going. Hopefully you're still engaged. Don't tell me you're not. That's good. Jim. G'day, Jim. Lovely to see you, mate. Jennifer and Robin and Corey. G'day, Corey. BJ, Titus. Who else we got in the chat? Michael and Jenny. Love to see you. Bill. G'day, Bill. Love to see you too, mate. Valerie. Soul Brother. Who else we got? David. DCK. Lovely to see you, mate. Habib. Good on you, mate. How are you all the way there in Lebanon? Must be getting late in the evening. Jeanette. Andrew. Annoying fan Heidi. Yes, you just made it. Mario, Squid Ben, and Charlie. Good on you, mate. Now, if I missed anybody, I'm terribly sorry, but I'll catch you as we go along in the stream. One thing I forgot to mention, I'm currently working on a video, triple cream. And there is a sneak peek in the gallery today of the cheese. It tasted amazing, which I wasn't surprised because of the high fat content. It was lovely. But yeah, triple cream cheese recipe will be coming out this week. So as soon as the Cheese a Day challenge finishes, I'll be releasing that video, and then I'm working on three other videos, which is Tassie Devil, which is it's based on an Asiago, but it's got Tasmanian mountain peppercorns in it, and a lot of them. I liked it a little bit spicy, so that was good. And then Jack in the Box, which is a pepper jack inside a farmhouse cheddar, so that'll be fun. And then the awaited taste test for the Vegemite cheese, so that'll be good fun as well. So stay tuned. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Otherwise, you won't get notified when I release a video. So thank you so much. What is right? First question is, I don't know if we have a question yet. Do we have a question? Let's have a look. I'm sure there was one. It was from somebody. There was a good question from Corey, if I can find it. Here's a video. Here's a question. Well, more of a statement. So Corey says, maybe I don't fit in here because I don't actually make any cheese. I just like the videos. And I tell you what, the community chimed in, that's for sure. So, Corey, everybody's welcome, and I officially dub you a curd nerd just for watching the videos and eating cheese. You know, you don't have to be a cheese maker to enjoy the videos and to enjoy the process of cheese making. Eventually, look, I'm sure something will pique your interest, and you will eventually make something. And once you've made one cheese, tell you what, and I'm sure the community will chime in, you can't stop. You really can't. But yeah, it's very cool. Oh, goodness me. Okay. Jennifer says, my favourite cheeses so far are Gouda, Colby and Caerphilly. I only started making cheese in November, so I have many to try. Indeed you do. There are so many cheeses. I'm just trying to think, how many actual cheese making videos have I made? I think it's over 200 now. So there's at least 200 recipes in video form on the channel, Jennifer. So well done on the 3 you've made so far. Hopefully they all turned out okay. But yeah, welcome, curd nerd. Next question is from where is it? Looking for a question. It's got to be here somewhere. Bill's making some Oaxaca during the cheese show today. Well done, Bill. That should be good fun. I love a good Oaxaca. It really is amazing. Right, DCK says, when you smoke a cheese, is it better mature than smoke or smoke than mature? Well, there's 2 schools of thought on this, David. Right, so Lisa over at Cheese 52, one of the other cheese channels on the YouTubes, did a bit of an experiment. She made 2, I think it was Gouda. She made 2 wheels. So she matured one and then smoked it. And then the other one she just made, and then after it was air dried, she smoked it then, and then let that mature. Now, bit of a difficult test because one was already mature and then one was not, if that makes sense. So She found that the flavour was more intense with the cheese that was just air dried and then smoked and then matured, if that makes sense. Look, when I've smoked cheese, and I've only done it twice now, I found that, yep, the smoky flavour went all the way through the cheese. You just, what I did is, once the cheese was smoked, I wrapped it in plastic wrap, so saran wrap, cling wrap, whatever you call it. And then I just put it into the normal kitchen fridge for a couple of days and let the smokiness go all the way through it. So that was really good. So that hopefully that answers your question. So look, it really doesn't matter personally. I don't think it does, but yeah, Lisa seemed to find that the smoked before maturation had more intense flavours, so that was cool. Okay. But make sure it's cold smoked. Don't never hot smoke a cheese because it just melts. Okay. Andrew says, I cut open my feta and it was full of gas produced holes. Just wondering what the cause could be. Oh, and there goes the curd nerd light. First of the day. Thank you, Ruth. Ruth, goodness me, you've caught a show so much. I will... I'll get to your question in 2 seconds as soon as I finish this one. So, if it's full of gas-produced holes, what could be the cause? Right, so, very difficult to diagnose without a photo, Andrew, because if it's sponge-like, if it looks like a sponge, and the holes occurred very early in the process, then it was contaminated with coliform bacteria and it's inedible. If the holes were produced later on in the process, late blown, they're just cosmetic, but it's very difficult to tell without a picture. So if you use raw milk, then that could be the issue, because the milk could have been infected with so many things, but yeah, that's what it could be. I hope that answered the question. If you want to send a photo, then at the end of the gallery there will be a link, and you'll be able to send me a photo and we can diagnose it next week. Ruth says, I'm so happy to be here. Way too busy these days, but I do have a question. I made sherv yesterday and after 36 hours it did not set. What happened? Not sure. Very difficult to diagnose. Another one, Ruth. Sorry. So it could be milk quality, but I know you use fairly good milk. Could be rennet strength. Could be an issue. You put a few, too many less. Sorry, I'll start again. If you don't put enough rennet, then that it tends not to set properly. But sherv is really, it's like a lactic set cheese. So once you put the starter cultures in, then you'll find that the lactobacteria starts to create lactic acid, which helps curdle the cheese anyway. So maybe the starter cultures that you used weren't viable, or there wasn't enough. Is another problem that can happen with goat's milk. If you're using goat's milk to make sherv, which you should be, then you'll find that some goat's milk is ultra pasteurized and it won't set a curd for love nor money. So that may be some issues as well. But yeah, without more detailed conversation, Ruth, that's the diagnosis at the moment. But thank you so much for the $25 super chat. I really appreciate it. Okay. Next, there are a few questions, and a lot of people putting QQQ in front of a question, which is fantastic. That really helps. Another question. Robin says, what is the absolute easiest and quickest cheese to make? Oh, let me think. Quickest cheese to make. Whole milk ricotta, I would say. You just get some milk, heat it up to about 92 degrees Celsius. Add a little bit of vinegar, and then it curdles. And then you strain it, add a bit of salt. Bingo, boingo, you got some cheese. So there you go. Yeah, I don't think there'd be too many problems whatsoever. There you go. That was easy. Is a question from Persnickety. Says, have you ever made or tried black cheese? Not charcoal rind, but completely black from charcoal. No, I haven't. Yeah, I've got some French ash as well. And thank you, Persnickety, for that $20 US. I'll get to that in a second. No, I haven't. And it can be easily done. I think you can add a little bit of charcoal to the milk, but the problem is charcoal is it's an alkaline, and it will stop some acidification of the milk. So what you would have to do is wait. So I'm just thinking through the process. I haven't done it before. I'm just trying to think how you would do this. You would warm your milk, add the starter cultures, let it acidify first, and then add the French ash or the charcoal or activated charcoal, whatever you want to add. But remembering that will take some of the acidity away. So you may have to use a little bit more starter culture to get the desired effect. But it'll have to be an experiment. I've never tried it before. But good question, Michael. So thanks for that. Michael says, I was in my local brewing shop during the week and noticed a bottle of liquid smoke. Could that be mixed in the milk like an Arto or not? Great question, Michael. Hang on, I've got a solution for you, mate. Hang on, let me just pull up the channel page. Where's the search? Right, there we are. Right, so I use the same thing from the home brew shop. Here, I use liquid smoke. Oh, good looking bloke. Where is it? Share. So this is hickory smoked flavoured chowder. I added liquid smoke. So go and have a look at this recipe, mate, and you might get some good tips. So yeah, that'll work. What's the next question? Is from... Oh, hang on, we'll do that super chat. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Where is it? Persnickety, there we go. No, US dollars, $20. Goodness me, thank you. So that's like $600 here in Australia. Not really, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Persnickety. This is simply to thank you for all you do. No, I really appreciate it. Okay, back to the questions. There are some more here. Heidi, annoying fan, says, you mentioned a 7-year-old cheese last week. Where do you store your older cheeses? Are they still in the cheese fridge, or do you move them to a regular fridge once they've reached a certain age? Yeah, kind of, right. So, good question. So, the 7-year-old double Gloucester is what you're referring to, and I did a taste test on it during the last 12 hours of cheese. So basically, any bits I've got left over that I want to mature longer, so I'll re-vac pack them at the end of the process, if I can, if they're that style of cheese. And then basically, I will keep it in the cheese fridge, just in the door of the cheese fridge, not on the shelves, because they seem to stack easier. There's no issues with that. And then I just leave them. Just forget about them, and yeah, I don't have any problems with that. If I want maturation to stop, however, like totally, I don't want them to get any stronger or anything like that, then I'll put them, I'll make sure they're vac packed, and I'll put them in the kitchen fridge. And I tell you what, we've got a pile of cheese in the kitchen fridge at the moment, so we're slowly getting through the cheeses from not only the Cheese a Day challenge, but other ones that I've made as well. So I'll have a massive big wheel of Vegemite cheese soon, as soon as I crack that one open as well. So yeah, very interesting. But great question. Thanks, Heidi. Paul says, have you ever made Greek Anthorio cheese. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a simple cheese that may be good for beginners. I haven't, but I will write it down, see if I can find a recipe. I'm sure out there on the interwebs there'll be a cheese. If it's like, say, Mithra, I think that's how you say it, which is like basically cream cheese, but it would be very simple. James, there's always one. Have you ever tried casu marzu? No, I haven't. I'm not having maggots with my cheese ever. Sandra says, cheese making is addictive. Indeed it is. And thank you for the photo for the gallery. That will be coming up in 10 minutes' time. Ruth is saying, I'm so glad to be here. Greetings from San Francisco. It is freezing here. Funny you should say that, Ruth. It was like 10 degrees here this morning as well, and it's our summertime. So, but the day before that was like 35 Celsius. So, yeah, it's up and down. It's crazy. Shauna said, I tried to make a Valencia this week from 200 Easy homemade cheeses. I got very expensive cream cheese. I got a great curd set, but went downhill from there even after 4 days. Any idea what wet want? Hang on, I need a cup of coffee. Any idea what went wrong? It was liquid pouring through the molds, and I've just never set properly. Tastes fantastic, got a great cream cheese, but just a waste of goat's milk, which is hard to get. Let me just have a look at the recipe. I've got it here in 200 Easy Homemade Cheeses. Look at that, ready-use library. Valencia, page 122. Consult the Book of Armaments. If you get that reference, then well done. Okay, so 122. What have they got? 8 litres of goat's milk, mesophilic culture, GO, Penicillium candidum. How much rennet? 1/4 teaspoon. Goodness me, that's the problem. So not enough rennet in this recipe, as far as I can tell. Normally for 8 to 10 litres, I would certainly use a lot more rennet than that. So for 10 litres, I use 1/2 teaspoon. And with goat's milk, you use just a tad more as well. Let's just have a look. What's the process? Heat the milk, add the cultures. How long does it take? Add the calcium chloride, add the rennet. 18 hours to set. Yeah, I don't think there's enough rennet. And especially the goat's milk is expensive, and depending on the brand, so like there was a brand here in Australia called Caprolac, which was a bit dodgy, and it didn't set because it was ultra pasteurized. They don't actually say it on the label, but it was ultra pasteurized because I checked. Eventually I found somewhere on a forum that's what they said it was, and it just wouldn't set. So that is such a pain. I hope you didn't and they actually started to use powdered milk to make milk, so a bit strange. If you found another brand, that would have been great. But yeah, if you got it fresh and raw, then it should set like a rock anyway. So there's just some thoughts, Shauna, from checking the recipe and stuff. Paul says, I'm hoping to make some apple cider with last year's leftover apples. If I want to make a cider, not a hard cider, soaked cheese, which cheese would work best and how is that done? Okay. Paul, so I would highly recommend washing the rind. So use that Alpine mead washed recipe that I had, that's on the channel, and use that. It will make the rind because, and the reason I say that, don't actually soak the curds in apple cider or apple juice. as we call it here in Australia, or cloudy apple juice, because it'll ferment, and that's no good. So you'll get not only CO2 production, you'll also, because there are wild yeasts in the cider, you'll get CO2 production. You also get some alcohol, which will affect the production of lactic acid conversion. So that'll be a bit of an issue. But if you wash the rind with the apple cider, I'm sure you'll get a nice cheese like that Alpine washed mead one that I did. Is my recommendation. Jeanette says, I accidentally bought enough culture to make 100 kilos or so of camembert. Lol, an industrial-sized sachet of the stuff. That is a shame that we're not closer, and I could have taken some off your hands. But you can buy a lot. Those so what do I sell? Mainly 1 unit quantities. Once you get up there, you can buy big packets, and they're very expensive as well. And they'll usually run out before you get to use them all. Habib says, I've never tried a washed rind cheese. What do you suggest? I started with Tilsit or raclette. I just got my Brevibacteria linens. Should I vac pack all my natural rind cheeses in the cave to avoid contamination? Oh, once you've gone down the slippery slope of Brevibacteria linens there, Habib, I'll tell you what, you'll never get rid of it in the cheese cave unless you use bleach. Yes, so if you've got any natural rind cheeses going on in the cheese cave, even if you use a ripening box, you tend to get some contamination. It just happens. It's a sneaky little bugger, I tell you. That bacteria, goodness me, should be on the Great Escape, I reckon. So if you've got some natural rind cheeses in the cave and they've got a decent rind, that's probably best to vac pack them. Now, first one you should try, I would say, is a more stabilised variety, which is probably Tilsit. Tilsit uses a thermophilic starter culture, and you shouldn't have too many issues with that. The paste does go soft eventually, and it's a really nice cheese. So try that one, Habib. That's just my suggestion. Where are we? Question from Bill says, I'm making Oaxaca cheese today. Your recipe calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of mesophilic and 1/4 teaspoon of thermophilic. What I have is MA4002 mesothermo. Can I use it? Right, so MA4002 does have one single strain of thermophilic. It's Streptococcus thermophilus. There's not very much in the packet though, as in the blend tends to go towards the mesophilic and not the thermophilic. So there'll be more mesophilic than thermophilic. The thermophilic paste is needed to rapidly acidify the milk and curds, so you can stretch it. You can get to the stretchy point at between 5 and 5.3 pH. That just won't happen with a mesophilic by itself. So if you've got some, Thermo B maybe, then you could add a little bit to that. So you could probably add an 1/8 of a teaspoon of Thermo B if you've got it to your MA4002, and that will work if you have it. But yeah, what I tend to do is add some MOT92, which just has 1 mesophile and 3 thermophiles to some mesophilic to make it stretch, and it stretches really well. So, but yeah, you definitely got to have more thermophilic there, Bill. Next question is from John. John says, hello from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. G'day, John. What makes cheese healthy? What are the best cheeses you've had? And, goodness me. Healthy cheese. Well, everything in moderation, mate. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think there is. It depends on how you define healthy. If it's got calcium, protein, and you can convert milk from something that's very that can go off quickly, perishable, into something that you can age for a long time, then any cheese is a good cheese, as far as semi-hard and hard cheeses go. Healthier ones tend to be the ones lower in fat, like cottage cheese and halloumi, paneer. Those sorts of cheeses are lower in fat content per volume because they're not as concentrated, is the word I like to use. So yeah, that's probably a good enough answer. All right, it's time. We haven't quite got. Where are we? Next question will be from Jeff and Heidi. Right. I know I'm way behind on the questions. There's so many of them today, but we have a gallery. Nice quick one. Let's bring that up. And where is the thingo for it? Right. So the gallery. Here we go. So the gallery is brought to you by you. These are photos sent in by the Kurdner community. This one is from Persnickety, who... have I got the right name? Where is it? There we go. So, real name, Michael. Says, hi Gavin, Persnickety again, and thank you for the live stream mention. Attached are 2 pepper jacks made in late January of 2023. I used a buttermilk culture with this sachet, which was from New England Cheesemaking Supply, into a quart of whole milk and let it sit in the fridge for a week after initial ripening. It didn't pour but flowed like thin yogurt and allowed to ripen in the 9 gallons of whole milk for an hour. That's massive. I run dual 5-gallon or 20.8 litre stainless steel pots with the sous vide water circulators. The peppers were 10 jalapenos, 5 green chilies, 3 habaneros, seeded and cleaned, and then set to a rolling boil for 35 minutes. 5 tablespoons of red pepper flakes being hydrated in the last minute of the boil. After salting the curds, they soak in room temperature pepper water for about 1.5 hours with routine stirs to break up the curd mass. Photo has the jacks just out of an overnight Dutch press, weighed and ready for fridge drying. The one on top, which is that one there, is 5.5 pounds. The bottom one is 5 pounds. This is a modification of your triple pepper jack recipe, which also yielded a 1 pound pressed ricotta to be aged for 6 months. The jacks will be ready in early April. And then goes on to talk about his massive vacuum seal. It's a Magic Seal 16-inch for larger cheeses. I wish I had this when my 6-pound Parmesan dried out too fast from low humidity and began to crack. Simply did not fit into standard bags, so had to be halved and vac packed months ahead of schedule. Breaking the rind to save a cheese is a painful thing. Warmest regards to both you and Kim, and your kith and kin, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Lovely looking cheese. Look, can we get closer? Yeah, there we go. Look at all those chilies. Goodness me. That is amazing. And that's a big cheese. So 5 pounds is about, what, 2.5 kilos. So there's 5 kilograms of cheese there for all those who don't do pounds, imperials. So that's a lot of cheese. But well done. Well done, Michael. The next one is from Sandra. And this is a... Where is the spiel? Sandra says, hi, Gavin. Here is my smoked paprika kafili I opened this week. I vacuum sealed it and had no mold issues or anything to scrape off. Wow, it is nice. I will definitely make this again. Thanks for the recipe. Kind regards, Sandra, or S. Taylor, as she's known in the chat. That's a good looking cheese, Sandra. Nice and crumbly, like a good kafili, and nice paste. So And the rind, yeah, probably wouldn't lose that smoky flavour if you vacuum packed it. You would have locked in the flavour. Whereas I let a little bit of mould grow on mine on the outside and then scraped it off just to leave the colour. And it got some smoky flavour in it. But well done, Sandra. Really appreciate you sending those in. Now, if you want to send in photos to the gallery, you can. We're a bit light on today. But soon we've got so many people in the chat. Surely people have photographs of their cheeses. That would be absolutely fantastic. Let me show you how to send in a photo. So we go to the channel page. Where are we? Here we are. So go to the channel page and we go to the About tab just here. And we click on that. And down here it says details for business inquiries. You view the email address. Now, if you're not logged on, you won't see this. If you use the YouTube app on mobile, then you won't see this either. So you have to go to a desktop or laptop or tablet and use a browser, and then you can see it. So, yes, shoot them through, send through your photos, or make sure you put a little explanation of what you're sending. If you've got any issue cheeses, as in things that might not have gone so well, then please make sure you put a detailed step-by-step thing of what you did, so I kind of can diagnose it. So that'll certainly help. But yeah, please send them in. Really, really do love showing photos in the gallery. So, okay, so that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sending those in, both Michael and Sandra. Appreciate it. All right, where were we? Up to the questions. Jeff had a question. It says here, if we cover the breathing hole in a maturation box with a micro pore tape when maturing a cheese, will it prevent cross-contamination if we hang salami in the cheese fridge to cure at the same time? Okay, so you don't really, if you've got a one of those ones I used to sell, the Decor, it was a micro safe thing. It had a little pop top to let steam out if you were like cooking something. Just close it. It doesn't need to be open at all, the breathing hole. So just close it and you will have no issues because it's got a little rubber seal and that won't let in any of the other bacteria that may be lurking in your cheese cave. And you can hang salami in the cheese fridge, no problems whatsoever. Alternatively, if it's a cheese that can be vac-packed, then vac-pack it, and then you won't get any cross-contamination either. So I hope that answers your question, Jeff. But if it is a hole and you can't seal it, then yeah, a bit of tape would probably work over it, no problems at all. Juana says, after mozzarella, what's the next cheese for a beginner to try out? I wouldn't say that mozzarella is a beginner's cheese, but if you've made it successfully, well done, congratulations. You're steps ahead of a lot of people. The next cheese for a beginner to try out, I would try halloumi. Honestly, if you've gone down the path of using rennet already in your mozzarella, then yeah, halloumi is just amazing. Make sure that after you've made it, that you fry it in a frying pan with some olive oil. It tastes very ordinary otherwise. You really have to fry it. It's a frying cheese. That's the only way it really should be eaten. So there you go. I hope that helped. Tortilla Wrap said, do you need different cultures for cheese, goat's cheese versus cow's cheese? No. No, lactic bacteria is lactic bacteria. It will infect any sort of milk, and you can inoculate it the same. So if you're using a standard mesifier with just 2 lactic bacteria in them, then so like there's a brand I sell, MO30, and I think MM100 or MA11 is the same. Pardon me. Then yeah, you can use it for goats and cow's milk and sheep's milk. It's no problems whatsoever. You don't need different cultures for different cheeses. John says, how and why did wine and cheese come to be associated together hand in hand, and cheese and crackers? I can answer the cheese bit. And there's a curd nerd sign going off. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. I'll showcase that in a second. Wine and cheese. I'm not sure. But cheese and crackers, I think the crackers just add texture to the cheese, especially soft cheeses. Certainly helps spread them out, and I think that's why they would have been used. Or people didn't want to get their dirty hands into cheese, so they use crackers instead to kind of like a shovel, scoop it in. Wine and cheese, well, you know, a lot of cheeses originated in France and Italy, and wine is predominantly the drink of choice, so I would think that might have something to do with it. So, very cool. Got a super chat. Goodness, we've got some stuff to get through. Thank you, Tracy. $7 Canadian, I really appreciate it. Waves, g'day from snowy Canada. Sounds like the whole of North America. Well, higher latitudes anyway. Covered in snow today. But thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it, as always. Back to the questions. Let's have a look. Anthony's got a good response to John's questions. In the olden days, I think wine was just in one hand all the time, so it was just a matter of putting something in the other hand. Well, that's very good. I like that. Also, a question from John says, how old can cheese age? To 100 years, lol? I'm not sure. Some of the oldest cheese that I have seen is... Let me think. I think I saw a 10-year-old cheddar once. I didn't try it. When I was visiting Cheddar Gorge in Somerset, and they had some cheeses for sale, and there was this really old 10-year-old cheddar. So it was very expensive. I couldn't afford it at the time. Probably couldn't afford it now. But yeah, it was a 10-year-old cheddar. That's the oldest I've seen. So I don't know, 100 years, maybe, not sure. Paddy says, you're tardy again. Doesn't matter, mate. You've joined us, so that you can always watch the replay. Jeanette says, I had to actually buy cheese last week. I miscalculated how long my stash would last. Yeah, it depends on how fast you're eating it there, Jeanette. Yeah, I'm the same. Oh, goodness me. But I've got lots of cheese stashed away. It's like a squirrel. Stash it away in your cheeks. Oh, goodness me. Paul says, I made a goat's milk cheese last year that didn't say it at all. The goat's milk container said ultra pasteurised, but it was very small and I missed it. Yeah. And I think the reason, Paul, they do ultra pasteurize goat's milk that is commercially available is because it doesn't sell very well. So longer life on the supermarket shelves. That's what it is. Got another super chat there going off. Thank you so much. Who's this from? It's from Shauna. Where's Shauna? Thank you, Shauna. $20 Australian. That's fabulous. Thank you so much. Just to say thank you. So I appreciate it. I really do. Now, we've got lots of questions. How much time we got? We've got 15 minutes, which is fantastic. More of a statement. Here we go. It's from Gooseberry Hollow. Cut into a 5-week Canadian kefili on Thursday. Pleased as punch. Is that different than Welsh kefili? Did you do something different to it? That'll be interesting to know. Anthony's got a suggestion for Shauna around her Valence. He says, in one of my books, there's a recipe for 8 litres of milk with 8 drops of liquid rennet. Yeah. There you go. Shauna says, thank you, Gavin. It was caprolac goat milk. Lesson learned. Yep. Happened to me too. If you have a look, I think I used caprolac for the Bloomy Goat Blue, and I just managed to save it, Shauna. If you looked at that video, you would see curd, little tiny particles of curd seeping out of the side of those little small moulds that I use. So I learnt the lesson the hard way too. But there you go. Where are we? Is there a question? Jeanette's got a question, right? How would you go with 50% or 50-50 with ultra pasteurised goat's milk and cow's milk to get some of the goat flavour? Would it set? Oh yeah, if you used raw cow's milk that you pasteurised yourself, low temperature, long hold, then that would work, because the cow's milk would be very structurally, the proteins would be intact. If you manage to get some pasteurised, unhomogenised milk that's probably a little bit higher temperature, I think it's 72 Celsius for 5 seconds or something like that, then that would work okay as well. Maybe go lower on the goat's milk. So I made I can't remember what it was, one of the cheeses. Anyway, I used 30% caprolac, the goat's milk, and it was ultra pasteurised, and I used 70% cow's milk, and I got a nice goaty flavour still. Little just hints of goaty flavour come through. So you could try that, Jeanette. Go lower on the goat's milk than the cow, and that, I think that'll work. You shouldn't have too many problems at all. Next question. Anthony says he made Valense, which is a cow's milk Valense, with that recipe, and it worked out well. Which is great info. Thank you, Anthony. All Out of Spoons says, I made my first raw milk hard cheese, Asiago. It's drying now. How do you know when it's time to vacuum pack it and put it away to age? How long would you age it? Thanks so much from West Coast, USA. And the Curd Nerd light's going off again. Goodness me. Thank you, Anthony. I will get to that in a second, mate. Andrew. Sorry, Andrew. Right, so this question here. So you vacuum pack it when the cheese feels like a clammy handshake. So it'll be dry. It won't be totally dry, because if it dries out too much, it'll start to crack. Asiago is a hard cheese. So yeah, it feels like a clammy handshake, then vacuum pack it and put it away. How long to age it? Asiago comes in two styles, fresh and well-aged. So the fresh version is 21 days. The longer age one can be 6 months or longer. So it's up to you. There you go. Next question is from... No, it's the Super Chat. Don't forget the Super Chats, Gav. Andrew says, and thank you for the $5 Australian. I've been told I can make brine from leftover whey. Is there any special process for doing this? Not really. It doesn't last as long, as that makes sense, because normal brine just made with water will last for ages and ages until it starts to smell. And I've used it so many times in cheese making until I hit a cheese that I've got put Brevibacteria linens in, and then it starts to smell after that and go a bit manky, and you kind of throw it away. So that's with just normal plain tap water, right? When you make a brine from leftover whey, I would only recommend using it once. Remember, the whey still has lactic bacteria in it, and it's still making lactic acid, so it's acidifying the whey as well. So I really would only use it once. So just replace the water in my brine recipe with whey, and you should be good to go. You probably really don't need to add any vinegar. Depends on how acidic the whey is, but you have to test the pH of the whey. It should be around 4.9, so that the cheese doesn't leach calcium into the whey and go slimy on the outside. So that's just a consideration. Just make sure that the pH is around about 4.9. Anyway, thank you so much for the super chat, Andrew. Okay, so many questions. I don't know if I'm going to get through them. If you really want your question answered, then a super chat is the only way to go, and I'll get to those first because we pay for it. Rain Nuka says, please help me with my problem. I tried to make cheddar cheese 2 times now with the last time copying your recipe. But each time it tastes normal, but it won't melt in the microwave. Okay. Yeah, so some cheddars that are really old, that are crumbly, won't melt, right? So the melting of the cheese is due to the proteins in the cheese, what's left over. Proteins, when they first start in cheese, are long chain, and then as they break down due to proteolysis, it's called, they turn into smaller chains, and the smaller the chain of the protein, the better the flavour is, and the more meltability it is as well. Does have a lot to do with the acidity of the cheese. So if the cheese has gone through maturation and it's too acidic, you've added too much starter culture maybe, which has converted all that yummy lactose into lactic acid. And if the cheese is really crumbly, then it doesn't really melt. Okay, the higher the acidity of the cheese, the final cheese, the less likely it's going to melt as well. So that could be an issue as well. That's why you find cheeses like feta doesn't melt as well, because they're really high acidity cheeses. So hopefully that helps. Who we got here? Let's have a look. Next question. We'll just get rid of that one. Let's have a look. Everybody's commenting on Persnickety's amazing cheese. Let's have a look. There's got to be another question somewhere. Anthony says, traditional mozzarella is not exactly a beginner's cheese, but there is a quick mozzarella, which is acid, coagulated, and pretty easy. Yeah, a lot of people still do have trouble with it, Anthony, I find. I don't know why, but a lot of people do. Because usually it's the first cheese they try and make. That's usually the issue, and they don't really understand the process, what the rennet does, what the citric acid does. And yeah, there's all sorts of things. There's better cheeses to start with as your first cheese. Sandra says, have 2 large pyramid molds. Do you have any suggested cheeses to make in these molds other than Valençay? Valençay is the only real pyramid cheese. If you've got larger ones, look, you can make any cheese. Let me think. A firmer one would be better. But you got to remember, any cheese that doesn't need pressing. Hey, you could do a wicked blue cheese. So, yeah, that'd be interesting because that presses under its own weight. You could do a nice blue cheese, which would be very interesting. Yeah, you could try that, Sandra. That'd be really cool. Give it a go anyway. John says, I'm afraid I do not understand 2 guys in a cooler. Is that a YouTuber? Yes. Yes, Eric is a YouTuber, and he does some fantastic sausages and stuff, and does some cheese videos as well. So, shout out to that. A lot of people talking about snow. Patty says, one guy in Wisconsin aged a cheddar for 40 years. Goodness me, that would be amazing. I would like to see that. Robin says, chili and halloumi is excellent, but I'm a chili freak too. Yeah, you could do that. When would you put the chili in? Just before pressing. So just before you do that really rudimentary couple of kilogram pressing in the cheesecloth. Once you get the curds out and you've drained them, just throw some chili through it. That'll work. And then follow the process as normal. Ruth has a great suggestion here. Check with Cheese History, which is Julia. She's from New Zealand, does a fantastic channel. Underrated, very underrated. It's a great channel and there's some great stuff on there. It says she has some history about the oldest cheese. I think somewhere they found cheese in an ancient pharaoh's tombs. Indeed, they did. And yes, cheese making all the way back like 6,000 years so far, even more, I think. So that would be cool. Yeah, go and check out Cheese History. Great channel as well. Next question is Destraw says, if you had to pick a cheese to remove it from reality, what would it be? How about a class of cheeses? A class of cheeses are processed. Processed cheese, I would remove it from existence with my flipendo wand, whatever. Any Harry Potter heads out there. But yeah, I tell you what, the last one I tasted, and you would have seen that in the challenge, the Dutch smoked cheese, it was horrible. Anyway, I put on a brave face. I took one for the team, all right? I tasted it. Sandra says, I often do a half goat, half cow's milk for Lenze, 1 to keep the cost down, but 2 to assist in yield. Indeed, well done. That is a great tip. Thank you, Sandra. John says, how would it be if a special cheese that had all types of flavours that crosses the spectrum, sweet, savoury, etc., is there a type? Oh, good question. Yeah, actually. So the Comte that I tasted the other day, John, on the Cheese a Day Challenge, go and check that out because it had sweet notes, it had umami savoury notes. It was just a fantastic all-round cheese made with raw cow's milk. So go and check out Comte. That is a special cheese, really is, if you can get a real deal. So, yeah, it's a great cheese, so try that. How much time we got? 4 minutes. Let's see if I can squeeze in a few more questions. John Jackson says, to help cheddar melt, I would add a bit of American cheese as it is designed not to separate, but I'm lazy like that. I've got a better suggestion. So I can't remember who asked the question. It's Raid Nuka. So your cheddar cheese, to help it melt, so just process it into American cheese. Now, I'll just bring that up so you can see what I'm talking about. So if I go and search the videos, let's have a look. So if we go and look for American cheese, okay, so American cheese, how to make it, is this classy video with me and a guy called Larry, who we did a collab. So I'll just grab the link. Yeah, so American cheese can be made by using cheese that you've made, and sodium citrate is the powder you add. You can make that yourself if you want, but you can buy it from the shop, no problems at all. So sodium citrate, add a little bit of that, some water to your grated cheese that won't melt. It'll then melt down into a better consistency for melting, and then you can put it in some molds, whether they be silicone molds or whatever. And yeah, you can turn a bad cheese that won't melt into a good cheese with only one extra ingredient that will taste really good and be very melty as well. So try American cheese. It's really worth the effort. My version, not anybody else's with all this other stuff in it. So yeah, it's a good cheese. Okay, so Dennis said, I just finished my first mozzarella. It turned out firmish and slightly squeaky. I think I overworked it. Yeah, that is a possibility. Also got to remember, if the milk was fairly low fat content, if it was like about 3.25 or 3.4%, the higher the fat content of the milk, when you're making quick mozzarella or normal mozzarella, the higher the fat, the better the cheese tastes and less squeaky is it as well. So, cool. So, next question. I'm sure we've got time for one more. Greg says, where can you buy the red container you use in the videos to brine your cheese? Okay. Look, that was a special. In the back of the Tupperware cupboard, we have this rice cooker. It was from Decor Australia, 3.5 litres, and I found this mat insert from another Decor container in the Tupperware container cupboard. Everybody's got one. And I put the two together. Unfortunately, you can't buy them anymore. So that's a bit of an issue, but you can use any container. Mine's not special, right? I've only got that little thing on the top, and it just keeps the cheese submerged. It's just something I use. It's not special. You don't have to use that. You can use any plastic container or stainless steel pot or whatever. The bigger ones, I just put in my stainless steel pot and put the brine in that, and then sprinkle a layer of salt over the top of the cheese that lifts up and is exposed for the first half, and then halfway through the brining process, flip it over and then re-salt it on top. That's what they do normally. Just big vats of brine, and they float the cheeses in it and throw more salt on top just by the handful. As long as it's salted during the brining time, you're good to go. It doesn't matter what container it's in. So, thanks, Greg. Great question. That is about all we've got for today. Thank you. Shauna says, do I have a Comte recipe? Sandra did send me one the other day. 2 recipes, a little bit dodgy. So I'm still looking, but I will make something like Comte. In fact, other people have chimed in and said Comte is just France's version of Gruyere. So we know how to make Gruyere. So, you know, I have never made Gruyere with raw milk. So, and I probably wouldn't make the Comte with raw milk. So that's going to be a bit of an issue. But I'm sure I can find a recipe somewhere. I haven't looked on New England cheesemaking company's website yet. They may have a Comte recipe, but I'll go and have a look. But as everybody's saying, especially Patricia here, says thumbs up. If you haven't given a thumb, there's 37 likes, 60 people watching now. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. That would be fantastic. If you haven't already subscribed, that would be fantastic as well. If you want to learn how to make cheese, go to the Curd Nerd Academy over at courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au, which would be absolutely fantastic. If you want to learn how to make cheese in a structured manner, that's what you use that course for. If you want to just go willy-nilly, that's fine. You can do that by just watching the videos for free on the YouTube channel. But if you want a structured course that is led by me, and I will answer the questions that you have within 24 hours on the course, then yeah, please do. A lot of people have been taking the course lately, which is very encouraging, because I thought I might have to drop the course because the hosting fees for the website that I use was more than what I was making in course fees. So it was a negative venture. Anyway, if you want to get any cheese making supplies, pop over to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. You can pick up equipment, kits, supplies, all that good gear, ingredients, and yeah, we ship to a lot of countries throughout the world. And of course, the merch. Certified Curd Nerd, whatever. Merch.cheeseman.tv. Every little bit helps. And for those who want to know, people who bought merch during the show, Persnickety bought an apron. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, the reason I'm plugging all these things at the end of the show, and hopefully you haven't all gone yet, is because, well, we've entered a recession here in Australia, and the orders to Little Green Workshops are really down. So much so that Kim and I have stopped drawing a wage from our own business to help get the business back on its feet. During the recession, sales are they're down. 50% less than what we pulled in last month. February is just shocking. And I am a little bit concerned. Not to say rush out and go and buy all the stuff. It's up to you. Really is a personal choice. But yeah, the cheese stuff is selling okay. It's all the other stuff that we sell as well, not going so well. But yeah, not so good. But anyway, thank you, Boris. I really appreciate it. Last in there. All that money does go back into the business to help make the videos and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Boris, for the kind super chat at the end. But yeah, so we're working through the problem. You know, there is a recession globally, just about. So yeah, we're feeling the pinch, and like I said, Kim and I had to pull in our belts and really do that. Ruth, to answer your question just before we go, no, I can't get any LPRA from the supplier, unfortunately. It's he buys it in big batches and just hasn't got any at the moment. So you may have to find some Holback LC, I think it's called, same stuff, made by Danisco, and I'm pretty sure you should be able to get some of that from some of the stores there in the US. So yeah, sorry about that, Ruth. Okay, all right. I'm going now. Yeah, thank you so much for supporting the channel with all your kind super chats, merch stuff, store orders, all that sort of stuff. I'm sure we'll keep the lights open. I'm hoping to be here next Wednesday, another live stream for Europe and Australia. So that should be the best thing. And we've got one final super chat. Goodness me, thank you so much. You're all so kind. John Jackson said, you are only the second YouTuber I've ever gave a super chat to. $10 US. Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get through this and come out smiling on the other side. I'm sure of it. But yeah, thanks for all your support so far. All right. Thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. See you next time.